So these two devices are pretty much at the top of the list for artists who want a portable solution to let you draw, animate, edit, and so much more to your heart's content, really. But which one of these two is going to be the best one for you in particular? Well, in this video, I'm going to be presenting to you the iPad Pro 12.9-inch, the M1 model, as well as the Microsoft Surface Pro 7, not the Pro 8, because I can't really get the Pro 8 at the moment, but the Pro 7 will definitely do. So let's go ahead and dive right in. And before we continue, don't forget to follow me on both Twitch and on Instagram. I will be streaming on Twitch fairly often, so I really don't want you to miss out on that. Also, why not go ahead and pledge over to the Patreon if you would like to support us? There are going to be monthly giveaways for members as a way of giving back. And then lastly, now do make sure to join the Discord because there are plenty of cool people over there. And subscribe, like this video, of course, for the usual if you end up liking it. Now on to the video. So let's begin by comparing the two of these in terms of how they're built and what they offer. Now the iPad Pro is very thin and is comprised of aluminum and some pins around the back. You are going to find a volume rocker, sleep-wake button, and a full-on Thunderbolt 3 port in the form of USB-C around the bottom. This iPad features 4 speakers, 2 on each side in landscape mode. And the bezels on this one are super thin too. And the design is still very simple as well, yet very effective. Now the Surface Pro 7 is just a little bit thicker with an aluminum magnesium blend when it comes to the build, and it is going to be about the same weight, I would say, but it does feature a stronger build than the iPad Pro. And now both of these are going to look fairly different in terms of size, in part because they both operate on 2 different aspect ratios, so do keep that in mind. Now this device is going to feature a kickstand, which does make it a lot easier to use without any other accessories, and it is still a very good one too, allowing for many different propping angles. And it features the pins on the bottom, of course, a USB-A port, USB-C port, and charging connector on the right, and the headphone jack on the left. There's also going to be a volume rocker and power button on top. In the back, you're going to find the micro SD card slot for expanding the storage. So when it comes to the overall design, I had to say that the Surface wins, even if it's not the most aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. It's more sturdy than something like, let's say, the iPad Pro in this case, and it already has a kickstand for use as just a regular tablet, which makes it easier to use without any other accessories really. But I do prefer the design of the iPad Pro because of its sleeker design, but it does have its limitations. And now the Surface is going to be the overall winner because you can never go wrong with adding a headphone jack, for instance. It still comes in handy from time to time, so I am very glad that they kept that. Now they both have very good screens, where the iPad Pro has a 12.9-inch display that runs at 120 Hz at a resolution of 2596 by 2732 and has a mini LED panel which has helped with battery life a little bit and has True Tone. The Surface Pro 7, on the other hand, is going to have a 12.3-inch display running at 60 Hz at a resolution of 2736 by 1824, which is powered by an IPS panel and supports Pixel Sense, which primarily exists for improving touch and pen support, at least from my understanding. Now both of these are absolutely beautiful and bright, supporting great colors that offer more natural tones, which really makes both fantastic for productivity, especially regarding color-sensitive work. If you like watching content as well, then you will be very happy for either one of these. But also, do expect some black bars for either one of these because they operate on aspect ratios that aren't really ideal for watching content, but they happen to be great for making content, which is kind of ironic. And now we do prefer the display on the iPad Pro because it's brighter, and in my opinion, it just looks better, and 120 Hz is very tough to compete with. The Surface still has a fantastic screen, but not as good as the iPads for the reasons that I mentioned above. So the iPad wins in this section. So both of these do support stereo speakers, but in different configurations. Now, the Surface Pro 7 features a dual set of speakers that are front-firing, which makes them one of the best positioned speakers on any tablet. And now the iPad Pro has 4 speakers, 2 on each side of this device. Now, they aren't going to be front-firing or anything like that. However, they do sound very good, even if they are much easier to cover up. But I want you all to have a listen for both of these at max volume. So go ahead and, well, listen. And after what has been basically an aeon, I am finally back. Welcome to Tech Summit 7.0, where my content is better than ever with a revamped studio, many new gadgets to test out, and, well, way more. I'd like to especially thank all of my patrons for being so loyal and supporting us, which is why every patron qualifies to participate in our monthly giveaways. And after what has been basically an aeon, I am finally back. Welcome to Tech Summit 7.0, where my content is better than ever with a revamped studio, many new gadgets to test out, and, well, way more. I'd like to especially thank all of my patrons for being so loyal and supporting us, which is why every patron qualifies to participate in our monthly giveaways, where we give away at least. Now, the Surface, in my opinion, has bad sounding speakers that I do not enjoy using because they are so tinny, but still sound muffled to me in a way that my microphone could not really capture. It is a shame considering just that they are so well positioned. And now the iPad Pro has fantastic sounding speakers, and I have to say that these are the best speakers on any tablet. You can cover them up a little bit too easily, I would say, if you're using it just handheld. However, on a keyboard case, or let's say a kickstand case, they will give you their full potential. So the iPad Pro wins in this regard as well, for having vastly superior speakers, in my opinion. So when it comes to keyboard and trackpad combos for either one of these, I have to give it to Microsoft and continue to shame Apple here. I do realize that I don't have first-party accessories for either one of these, but this more so just has to do with how each OS handles the keyboard controls and gestures through the trackpad itself, and how nice it is to use the trackpad overall. I know keyboards, for the most part, are going to be supported just about equally, and you can find a lot of awesome solutions for either one. Now, over here, I am going to have the Innotek keyboard case for the Surface Pro at around $70, and I have the Bridge Pro Plus at around $250. It might sound like a disadvantage, but not really. I tend to find much better keyboards on the Microsoft side with a lot of key travel and great prices. But most trackpads besides the first-party keyboard, in my opinion, and even the Bridge options, I would say have poor trackpads. When it comes to Apple, they have a great trackpad and great keyboards too, but I definitely give the win to the Surface Pro 7 because of this one reason. It inherently has a better trackpad experience within the OS, when the iPad Pro still treats it like an accessibility feature, even though they still sell you the trackpad cases. It still gives you that damn circle as a cursor that I'm so tired of seeing, and still triggers things automatically. If you're hovering over anything, and I still have not been able to figure out how to turn that off, if you even can. So I really hope that this will get addressed in the future. So Microsoft is definitely going to win in this regard. So when it comes to the drawing tests, they both offer a very good experience. The iPad Pro feels more smooth because of the 120 Hz panel, and the Apple Pencil is incredibly precise as well. You have a lot of software that you can use for the same purpose, with my favorite over here being Procreate, but you can also use Clip Studio Pro. It is a very good piece of software with desktop-like features, but there aren't really too many great options on iOS, but the ones that are good on there are really good. Now the Surface Pro 7, with that, you actually do get desktop level software because it is running full on Windows. So you get full Sketchbook Pro, full Photoshop, and things like that. Now, this ends up becoming much more of a competition between which operating system is better, and while they are both genuinely fantastic, I think that the Surface Pro 7 is the better drawing device. Not only do you get access to the best drawing and animation software, but you also get a more precise pen with an eraser tip, which just makes using this device much more convenient and natural. Now, don't get the wrong idea. The iPad Pro and its software are insanely close, I would say. But we do need more apps to come to the iPad or even updates to Photoshop and Sketchbook Pro to help make this device more versatile, even though it is still a very close second here. So when it comes to the video editing aspect, we're still going back and forth when it comes to software limitations here. So you're going to be getting a lot more options on the Surface Pro 7 like Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Sony Vegas, and many more options. Now the iPad Pro pretty much only has LumaFusion because Premiere Rush is very primitive in terms of its features. It's just too simple. However, you would never catch me trying to use desktop software like this for editing or just doing any kind of video editing on the Surface Pro 7 without experiencing a ton of hiccups in the performance. LumaFusion is not really the perfect desktop software replacement since it is missing features such as stabilization, which I've been asking to have on there for a very long time. But it runs so beautifully on the iPad Pro that it becomes impossible to see the parallels. I've edited quite a few videos on the iPad Pro and the Surface really just does not cut it. So the win goes to the iPad Pro thanks to its fantastic software optimization for what it has access to. And then when it comes to battery life, these are going to be very close as they each reach, I would say, somewhere around 10 hours of battery life on a single full charge. They have great battery life, and honestly, I don't think that you'll be disappointed by either one in this department. So yeah, there isn't really a winner here, if you ask me. So it's finally time to choose a winner here, and the answer is never really so black and white. But hear me out here. I do prefer the iPad Pro, personally, because of the crazy good optimization with the software, the high refresh rate screen, and what is still an amazing pen. I can be very productive on this machine, but I can't really use something like Resolve or full Sketchbook Pro, for instance, for animation, which makes me wish that it had a desktop OS, or that LumaFusion and Sketchbook just got the updates that they need in order to make them full-fledged software for the iPad Pro. Like, these things are definitely needed, and this is why not everybody is necessarily on board with going in that direction. So hopefully they end up implementing these in the future. Now, the Microsoft Surface Pro 7 is probably the full-on package until you need to either do any kind of 3D work, gaming, or do more serious video editing because the Pro 7 cannot handle it too well. But if you won't be going further than that, but need Windows, then the Surface Pro 7 is really going to be a no-brainer, without a doubt. The iPad still has a lot to offer, and this is the better solution for a lot of creatives. Students will be very happy with either one of these, but I think that you will save more money with the Surface Pro 7. It is a complicated solution, I would say. I know. But if you have any questions at all that could maybe help you decide on which one to get, then please make sure to comment any of those questions down below, and I will try my best to get to you so that I can address your specific circumstances and see just which one is better for you. And now I'm going to be leaving affiliate links down to Amazon in the description in case you are interested in getting either one of these or any of the accessories that I did mention in this video as well. And not to mention that I'm also going to have Luster if you need a very useful browser extension to help you find sales on Amazon. So that's going to be a very useful tool. But if you would rather finance things as well as you go, you know, just take it easy, then you can also just join ABUNDA. No credit card of your own required for this because it is very simple and easygoing financing. So yeah, I strongly recommend it. I strongly recommend it, to be completely honest. And I would also love to give a very special thanks to all of our patrons, especially the tier 3s, which are going to be Omar, Sada Wazal, and Joe Moss. Thank you so much for all of your support because it really does go a long way. And now on to the rest of our patrons coming right up. And this is super important. I would just like to give a very special thanks to all of our patrons, which are going to be listed right here on the screen. Again, a massive thanks to you all for supporting us to help us create the kind of content that we bring to you on a day-to-day basis. And thank you so much for supporting the Tech Summit podcast as well. And just remember that if you would like to be a part of this community too, and then do make sure to check out the links to our Patreon, where you don't only get bonus episodes of our podcast, but you also get automatically entered into one of our monthly giveaways of a tech product that we have reviewed that is of at least $50 in value or higher. So links to that down below. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on Twitch, where I do hope to be able to continue to stream more often. I am going to be streaming tonight, even though this video is not going up tonight. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy.